particle system in Lightwave will circumvent this anomaly, but if you're working with a third-party thing, it doesn't do that. So basically, when you do your calculation and you know you want a certain frame range to be visible, to calculate beyond that, so calculate another 60 frames or whatever the lifespan of your particles are, so that you don't get this effect when you render it, because you're going to be upset if you take all the time to render and all of a sudden they fade out at the end in a most unattractive way. So let's let me while we have this hypervoxel thing set up, let me show you another issue. Okay, when I go into the dissolve, actually this might be anywhere, but when I go in the dissolve gradient, you can see there's an option for, okay, there is a thing in here that is added when you have smoke and fire generator. If I go in here to say procedural texture, this is in the dissolve gradient for the particles, by the way, and I choose fire and smoke opacity. This comes with the fire and smoke generator, but do not use this. If I were to click right here, this would crash Lightwave. It's because it's fairly old, and it doesn't matter because this is obsolete. I'm going to remove this layer. This was before relative particle age, and it basically was a way of emulating the effect of relative particle age before relative particle age was part of Lightwave. So you don't have to worry about that. Just bake your particles into the PFX, load it in here, use your relative particle age, and you're good to go. So let's go back and just okay, I'm going to turn off this emitter, and I'm going to go back in here and add the generator. Okay, I'm just going to basically cover the interface here, and then we'll wrap this up. So here's your birth rate and your lifespan. Your lifespan variations is how much of a percentage the lifespan. Some of them can live longer and live shorter, and this 20% by default is a very visually pleasing setting. Max speed, I might have to pull up the manual for all these, but I'll just leave max. It might be like a speed limiter. Inertness, I don't know what that is. You have to play with that. Get velocity from emitter. That's if your thing is moving around. The inertia of that the particles will follow it along. Speaking of moving around, if you do move this thing around, let me go into the side view here. If this thing was moving too fast, see, these things do not move with inertia. They go straight up, at least at their default setting is, and they seem to look best that way. So if this thing is moving, let's just set up a little quick animation here. And we'll reset the calculation. Stop. Okay. So you can see if it moves too fast, not all your particles will be hit by these vortex guys. So you should watch out for that. It is a caveat of using this program. If your thing moves too fast, you don't get the cool effect at all times. So anyway, let's go back into the interface here. Appear, dissolve. You don't have to worry about that because that would be if you use the that thing that doesn't work, the thing that crashes, the fire and smoke opacity texture. Okay, your object size, I don't know what that is, leave that there. This is heat power. This is how much the particles are moving upwards. And the limitation of this particle system is they only move upwards. You cannot make fire coming out of a jet engine or something like that, or some other kind of engine that would belch out fire. So it's only for fire that goes straight up. So there's a limitation there. Expand particles, vector normal influence, that would be, you know, if they push out along the normals initially before they go up. Expand particles, I don't know what that is, you can play with that. Here would be, you can add objects to be wind. Here's other wind controls, you can add envelopes there. Okay, these are your vortexes, these are the red donut guys. And you can increase these. Let's really increase these, and then you'll see how much of a difference it has. I'm gonna get rid of this animation. Reset the simulation. Start over again. So you can see if you add too many vortexes, you can sometimes get pinching. Let's pull that up there. Right there. There's pinching. So you don't want to go too nuts. This can also be affected by the size of the vortexes. So I'm going to tweak the radius. I'll lower this too. So you can see you move things around and you can get lots of different kinds of qualities of motion. And this is really over the top. This is too many vortexes, too much spin. I didn't tell you what spin is. That's this right here. This is how much the particles twirl around as they enter. So like we can lower this, and I'm going to lower this to 40%. Reset. Calculate. That's not so bad. Of course, bear in mind I don't have the collisions on for this, so it goes quicker. Now, back in my baked example that I showed you earlier, if I was doing this for real for rendering, I would have used a much higher birth rate. So let's crank this up just for a moment to see what it looks like. It goes slower, of course, but the higher your birth rate, the more density you have with your particles, the less you get that spotty look when it renders out, and you know, it inches closer to looking like an actual volume, or excuse me, an actual fluid type of smoke, even though it's never going to approach the quality you get with fume effects. But stop that. Go back to vortexes. Propagate with heat up. Right, this is the default value, 110%. This is as the particles go this fast, the vortexes can go just a little bit faster, and it pulls them upward, and it looks nice. You can tweak the value of that, and of course your lifespan. I think my lifespan of the particle is 70, but you would want them to be longer just in case. And of course we've already been here as a simulation. You can change the random number seed to change up the look without changing the settings. And this would be your color gradient, but this is something you don't need to mess with, because this can be done in your standard hypervoxel interface or your sprites. And so there you have it. I'm trying to think if there's anything I missed. Again, you can add these vortexes. You can add a null object and say just make a vortex, a single vortex. So you can manually animate one there. But I think that's pretty much it. So and enjoy. And once again, here's a location where you can check out Fire and Smoke Generator. And I'll see you next time.